The text came while I was sitting at a red light, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. Mom, we'll visit your sister first. Her apartment is nicer. The screen lit up in the dark car, her words sharp enough to slice through the quiet. I stared at them for a second, my lips curling into a small, practiced smile, the kind that hides everything. Then I typed back, "Me, no worries." And I meant it. At least, I wanted to. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation? Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. Traffic crawled, headlights washed over my dashboard, and for a moment, I thought about all the times she'd said something like that. When I was a kid, she'd compare my drawings to Avery's grades. When I opened my first design studio, she said, "Interior decorating isn't a real job." And when Avery bought her apartment downtown, Mom couldn't stop posting about it online. "Look at your sister," she'd say. "She's really doing something with her life." I never told her what I was doing with mine. I pulled into the private garage beneath the high-rise tower, the kind with motion sensor lights and polished floors that mirrored the tires. My reflection moved across the elevator doors, red hair in a loose twist, cream blazer, quiet confidence. The woman I'd become looked nothing like the one they dismissed years ago. As the elevator rose, floor numbers blinking past, I thought about Avery's nice apartment. I'd seen it once. Small, neat, expensive but safe. Predictable. Mine was different. I'd built mine from the ground up, designed every wall, every line, every inch. And tonight, the world was about to see it. When I stepped inside, the penthouse glowed softly in the city light, glass walls, white marble, golden reflections spilling over the skyline. The Pacific shimmered in the distance, calm and endless. I turned on the TV and poured a glass of sparkling water, pretending I wasn't waiting. But when the show started, my pulse quickened. And for our final feature tonight, one of Los Angeles's most exclusive modern penthouses, recently valued at $34.6 million. Designed and owned by a mysterious young entrepreneur. The camera panned through my living room, the staircase, the skyline, the curved balcony I'd fought to include in the design plan. My heart thudded. It looked surreal. My phone buzzed once, then twice, then nonstop.
Mom. Dad.
Avery. I didn't answer. I just watched the hosts praise my home, the one they didn't believe I could ever have. Ben, my driver, called from the hallway, "Miss Hayes, did you want me to pick your parents up tomorrow?" I smiled faintly, eyes still on the screen.
No. They know the way.
They just never cared to come before. I set my phone face down, letting the vibration die against the table. 42 missed calls. And as the city pulsed outside my window, I whispered to no one, "Now you'll see me without needing to be invited." For the first time in my life, their silence would have to scream loud enough for me to hear it. By sunrise, my phone looked like it had been through a storm. Missed calls, voicemails, texts stacked on top of each other, every single one from the people who had ignored me for years. The irony almost made me laugh. I walked barefoot across the marble floor, coffee in hand, city still waking up outside my windows. The early light spilled through the glass, painting everything gold. For once, I didn't rush. I just stood there, letting the silence fill the space that used to ache. Then my phone buzzed again, Mom's name flashing on the screen. I didn't answer. A minute later, the voicemail came through. "Lena, sweetheart, we saw your penthouse on TV last night. We didn't know. It's incredible. Your father and I are so proud of you. Call us, please."
Proud.
The word hit me like a hollow echo. Now they were proud. Not when I slept in my office, building my firm from scratch. Not when I sold my car to pay my employees during the recession. No, pride only came after I'd made it on TV. I poured another cup of coffee, laughing under my breath. "Proud," I whispered. "You just love the headlines." By noon, I had to step out for a meeting, an investor pitch that, ironically, I didn't even need anymore. Ben opened the door to the elevator, his usual calm expression replaced with something curious. "Big night, huh?" he said. "Big enough," I replied, slipping on my sunglasses. Guess the secret's out. Outside, the city was buzzing differently. People glanced at me, a few whispering as I walked past. I didn't mind. I'd worked for this, not for fame, but for the freedom that came with it. Halfway through the meeting, my assistant, Emily, leaned in. "Sorry to interrupt, Lena. There's a family waiting in the lobby. They said they're your parents." I froze. My investors exchanged glances, sensing the tension. "Tell them I'll be down in 5, I said evenly. When the elevator opened to the lobby, I spotted them instantly. Mom in her signature beige coat, Dad straightening his tie like he was meeting royalty, and Avery scrolling through her phone as if the marble floor bored her. "Lena," Mom called, her voice too bright. "Oh my goodness, look at you." I smiled thinly. "You found me." "Of course," she said, pulling me into a hug I didn't return. "We saw the show last night. Why didn't you tell us? That penthouse is, what did they call it? One of the most desirable properties in Los Angeles." I shrugged. "Didn't think you'd be interested. You said Avery's apartment was nicer." Dad chuckled nervously. "You know how your mother exaggerates." "She wasn't exaggerating," I said softly. "She was being honest. And so was I when I said no worries." Avery finally looked up. "Oh, come on, Lena. Don't make this a big thing. We're family."
Family.
The word made my chest tighten. I studied her for a moment. Perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect everything. She'd always been the center of every story. Even as a kid, I was the one holding the camera, clapping from the sidelines. "You're right," I said quietly. "We're family, which means I can be honest too. You didn't come here to congratulate me. You came because the cameras did." Mom's smile faltered. "That's not true." I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "Then why didn't you visit me before last night? Why didn't you ever ask what I was building?" She blinked, caught off guard. Dad cleared his throat. "You were always busy." "So were you," I interrupted. "Busy being proud of someone else." The air went still. For a moment, even the lobby music seemed to pause. Then I exhaled, turning toward the elevator. "If you want to see the penthouse, fine. But don't pretend you're here for me." They followed silently. No one spoke as the elevator ascended. The higher it climbed, the quieter they got, until the doors opened and the view exploded in front of them. The city stretched for miles, sunlight bouncing off the Pacific, the skyline shimmering like glass and fire. "Oh my," Mom whispered, stepping forward. "It's breathtaking." I smiled faintly. "Welcome to the apartment that wasn't worth visiting." Avery's eyes swept over the gold-veined floors, the designer art, the panoramic windows. "You live here alone?" "Yes." She frowned. "Don't you ever get lonely?" I tilted my head, meeting her eyes.
No.
I got used to being alone when family made it feel worse than silence. Dad tried to speak, but I raised a hand. "Don't. I don't need apologies.
I just needed you to see this.
To understand that the girl you doubted built all of this without you." They looked around, lost for words. Mom finally said, "We made mistakes, Lena. We know that now." I turned toward the window, letting the sunlight hit my face. "That's good. Because I stopped living for your approval a long time ago." When they left an hour later, I didn't walk them out. I just stood at the glass, watching their car disappear into traffic. My phone buzzed again. A missed call from Avery this time. I ignored it. As the city lights flickered back on, I whispered to my reflection in the glass, "I don't need them to see my worth anymore. They're just catching up to what I already knew." The wind from the balcony carried the faint scent of salt and freedom. It wasn't revenge that filled my chest that night, it was peace. Peace that didn't need to be explained, proven, or earned. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. The night after they left, I couldn't sleep. The city below looked alive, cars streaming like veins of light, helicopters blinking in the distance, everything pulsing like a reminder that this world never stops. I stood by the glass wall, holding a cup of cold coffee, watching it all, wondering why peace always came dressed as silence. Then my phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Avery. Mom's crying. She says she just wants to fix things. Please call her. I stared at the message, unreadable, then set the phone down. Fix things, I whispered. After decades of breaking me, it wasn't anger anymore, it was detachment. When people only show up after you've succeeded, they're not coming for you. They're coming for the spotlight. I turned on the TV again, flipping through channels absent-mindedly. Then, like fate teasing me, my face appeared on the news ticker. Mystery developer behind $35 million penthouse revealed. My name, my company, my work, all out. My inbox had already exploded with offers and invitations. But none of it compared to the quiet satisfaction of knowing the people who once pitted me now had to watch me win. By morning, I had a visitor at my door. Ben buzzed through the intercom. "Miss Hayes, your parents are here again." I closed my eyes and sighed. Let them up. When the elevator doors opened, they stood there with that same practiced smile, Mom holding a gift bag like it could erase years, Dad in a pressed blazer pretending nothing was wrong. "Good morning, sweetheart," Mom chirped, stepping inside. "We brought you something." "Unless it's time, you can keep it," I said calmly, walking toward the kitchen counter. Her smile faltered. "We're trying, Lena." I turned, meeting her eyes. "Trying now, after the cameras found me?" Dad cleared his throat. "We didn't mean to make you feel lesser than your sister. We just wanted you both to be successful." "You wanted her to look successful," I said sharply. "You wanted the pretty story for your friends. Avery's doing so well. Avery's husband just bought a boat. And me? You told people I was experimenting with small projects. Do you know how that felt when I was pitching multi-million-dollar deals?" Mom's face tightened. "We didn't know. You didn't ask." The room went quiet. Even the hum of the city seemed to fade. Avery wasn't with them this time, but Mom tried to fill the silence with forced warmth. "Your sister was just insecure. You've always been the independent one, Lena." She felt overshadowed. That almost made me laugh. Funny, because I was the one living in the shadows. I walked to the balcony, opening the glass doors. The wind hit hard, whipping through my hair. "Do you see that view?" I said, nodding toward the endless skyline. "That's what standing alone looks like. It's high, quiet, and lonely, but it's mine. Every inch of it." Dad's tone softened. "We just don't want to lose you over old mistakes." I turned around, holding their gaze. "You already did. You just didn't notice until it cost you your favorite narrative." Mom's eyes filled with tears. "Can we start over?" I hesitated. For a moment, that little girl inside me, the one who used to wait by the window for their attention, wanted to say yes. But the woman I'd become knew better. "You can start over," I said quietly. "But not with me. I've already moved on." She looked stunned. "Lena." I handed her a tissue and smiled faintly. "It's not hatred, Mom. It's closure." They left a few minutes later, silence following them like a shadow. When the elevator doors closed, I felt something in my chest finally unclench. Years of silence, dismissal, and comparison, all evaporating like morning fog. Later that afternoon, I had a call scheduled with a luxury magazine. They wanted to feature me on the cover, the woman who built her empire in silence. I almost declined, but then I thought of Mom's text. "Her apartment is nicer." I smiled. Maybe it was time the world knew the story behind the woman in that penthouse. Not for revenge, just truth. When the interview began, the journalist asked, "So, what motivated you to build all this?" I thought for a moment, then said, "Being underestimated. People like to tell you what you can't have. I like proving them wrong." She laughed softly. "That's powerful." I leaned back, glancing at the skyline behind her camera. Powerful isn't the word. It's survival. That line went viral the next day. By evening, my parents' friends were sending them the article, tagging them, asking if I was their daughter. I didn't have to hear their conversations to imagine the shock on their faces. The same people who used to call me the quiet one were now posting about how inspiring I was. When my phone buzzed again that night, it was another text from Mom. "We watched your interview. You were incredible. Please call us. We miss you." I stared at it, my reflection faint in the black screen. Then I typed a single message back. "Thank you. I'm happy you finally see me, but I've learned to live without being seen." I set the phone down and walked out to the balcony. The wind was colder tonight, brushing against my skin as the city pulsed below. My heart felt lighter, not because they'd changed, but because I didn't need them to anymore. The truth was simple. I didn't climb this high to make them proud. I climbed so I'd never have to ask for their permission again. The stars blurred against the city haze, and I smiled to myself. Quiet, certain, untouchable. That was the night I finally realized success doesn't silence pain. It just gives you a better view while you rise above it. The next morning, the world felt different. The sunlight cut through my living room glass like gold threads, dancing on the marble floors. Somewhere below, the city was roaring with another day of ambition, but up here, there was peace, quiet, earned, and mine.
My phone buzzed again.
Another text from Mom. "We're downstairs. Please, Lena, we just want to talk." I exhaled, steady and calm, then typed back, "There's nothing left to say." And I meant it. For years, I had chased their approval like oxygen, but the moment I stopped needing it, I finally learned how to breathe. Ben called from the lobby. "Should I send them up, ma'am?" "No," I said softly. "Tell them I'm busy." He hesitated. "Understood." I put my phone away and walked toward the balcony, barefoot, the cool marble grounding me. The air was sharp, ocean-scented, alive. Below me, Los Angeles shimmered, a reflection of everything I built when no one believed in me. They wanted to talk now because the world was watching. Not because they missed me, but because losing me no longer looked convenient. That realization didn't hurt anymore. It liberated me. As I leaned on the glass railing, I remembered my mother's words from months ago. "Your sister's apartment is nicer." She meant it as fact, not cruelty. But it had shaped me. Every insult, every dismissal, every smirk at my choices, they'd all been bricks I used to build this view. My assistant, Emily, walked in holding her tablet. "You've got another media request, Lena. CNN wants an interview about women in real estate." "Tell them yes," I said. "But make sure the focus isn't just the property. It's the journey." Emily smiled. "You're changing how people see success." I smiled back faintly.
No.
"I'm just reminding them what it costs." Later that evening, the segment aired, the one about me, my company, and how I turned failure into foundation. The comments section flooded with words like inspiring, fearless, self-made. But the one message that caught my eye came from an unknown number. "You made us proud, Lena." No name, no photo, but I knew who it was. I stared at it for a while, then deleted it without replying. Some stories deserve an ending, not a continuation. That night, I stood once again by the glass, city lights painting my reflection. My red hair glowed faintly under the dim light, the same color my mother once said would never look professional. I laughed softly at the memory. Success had always been my quiet rebellion. Not loud, not cruel, just undeniable. I picked up my glass of water and whispered to the skyline, "Here's to the girl they overlooked." In that moment, I realized revenge wasn't the point. Growth was. They had judged my silence as weakness, but it had been my weapon all along. When my phone buzzed again, I didn't even check it. I turned it face down and stepped outside onto the balcony. The wind swept through my hair, and somewhere far below, the city kept moving, cars, voices, dreams, all spinning in their endless rhythm. I had everything I needed: peace, freedom, and proof that sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't shouting, or showing off, or even forgiving. It's silence. Because silence means you've finally stopped caring who hears you. And that's when the world finally starts listening.